Drextams. Most people have seen photographs of the industrial city rising from the Arabian desert. Every curve of this city, every pipeline, every foundation pile driven 50 meters into the sand. The journey of this city began not with a groundbreaking ceremony, but with ships crossing oceans. With musting storagers, nothing enters this facility without proving what it is. Every shipment arrives with a digital passport. Every The crane operator has been doing this for 23 years. His father was a crane operator. His son is training to be a crane operator. The difference between something that stands for 10 years and something that stands for 100 is measured in microns, in the thickness of a steel wall. The city will never forget where any of its parts came from. Every beam has a digital twin. Every fastener has a birth certificate.
The desert outside will reach 50 degrees Celsius today. Inside the storage zone, the temperature never varies by more than 1 degree. The humidity never rises above 40%.
The first touch of tool to material is a moment of irreversible commitment. Before this, the steel could have been returned. The preparation line never stops. 3 shifts, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. The plasma arc burns at 20,000 degrees Celsius, hot enough to cut through this aluminum plate like a knife through air. The passivation layer is invisible to the naked eye. You cannot see it, you cannot feel it, but without it, the desert would eat this steel in 5 years. The supervisor has the authority to reject anything. An entire pallet of prepared steel, a full day's production, can be stopped by one man's judgment. 12,000 tons of force, enough to crush a battleship, applied with such precision that the formed beam will match the engineering drawing. The steel has a memory. Every degree of cooling rate, every second at temperature, is written into the crystal structure of the metal. Cool it wrong and the memory will be of weakness. 8 microns, that is 1/10 the thickness of a human hair. That is the difference between this component fitting perfectly into the city's skeleton and being sent back to the furnace for recycling.
The casting line runs for 18 hours at a stretch, the aluminum flowing like a river of light for all 18 hours. This hall operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every week of the year.
The 5-axis machine can reach any surface of the component from any angle. It can create geometry that would have been considered impossible 20
installations. The grinding wheel has no shortcuts. It cannot be rushed. It removes material at the speed of.
This single hole will receive a bolt that connects this node to a beam that stretches 40 meters through the city's framework.
A burr is a tiny thing, too small to see without magnification, but in a hydraulic system operating at 5,000 cannot assemble precision components with dirty hands. You cannot expect a hydraulic system to remain contamination-free if the parts arrive at assembly. Assembly is where the promise of precision is fulfilled. All those tolerances held, all of it leads to this. A bolt is a simple thing, a threaded fastener that humans have been using for centuries, but the difference between a bolt that stays tight for 50 years. The bearing and the shaft are now one, and the interference fit between them is stronger than any key or set screw could ever be. A seal costs perhaps $50. The manifold it protects costs $50,000. The system it serves costs $50 million. Every assembly that leaves this area carries with it the complete story of its creation. Every hand that touched it, every tool that cut it, every inspector that verified it.
The masking technician's work is just as critical as the coating technician's. What she prevents is just as important as what they apply.
The primer is the foundation of the coating system. It bonds to the metal at a molecular level. It sacrifices itself to protect.
The primer protects against corrosion. The intermediate coat builds the barrier. Together, they will resist everything
The color is deep black with premium finish and signature brand detailing. A color chosen A color chosen not for fashion but for function.
The coating is complete. The deep black with premium finish and signature brand detailing is now part of this assembly forever. The engineering drawing is the contract between the designer and the builder. Every dimension on that drawing is a promise.
Light does not lie. The interference pattern reveals the truth of the surface with an accuracy that no mechanical instrument can match. The CMM has touched this assembly in 537 locations, each touch a question asked and answered. Is this hole in the right position? The X-ray fluorescence analyzer sees through the coating into the metal beneath. It identifies every element present. The release signature is the final word on this phase of the assembly's life. All of it is now closed and certified. The assembly has been measured and found perfect. Integration is where the pieces of the puzzle come together, each piece made in a different part of the factory by different workers on different machines, and yet they must fit together.
The manifold and the frame were made in different buildings, by different people on different days, but they fit together as if they were
37 bolts tightened in a specific sequence to specific torque values, each one recorded, each one marked. The clamping force across this joint is now uniform to within 5%.
Each hydraulic line is a sealed promise. It will carry fluid at pressures that could cut through steel if released. If the integrated assembly is complete, every component joined, every connection made, every fastener torqued, it looks like the engineering drawings. The test bay is where the assembly must prove itself. It will be subjected to pressure higher than it will ever see in service.
3,000 psi. If a seal were to fail at this pressure, the escaping fluid would be invisible, a jet moving fast enough to cut through flesh. The assembly has now completed more cycles than it would see in 5 years of service, and it has done so without complaint, without degradation.
The assembly can think now. Its electronic controller can receive commands, interpret sensor data, make decisions, and report its status to the city.
The assembly has been pressured and cycled and probed and commanded. It has faced pressures it will never see in service. The final inspector is the last pair of eyes that will examine this assembly before it leaves the factory.
The coating inspection is subjective. It depends on the inspector's eye, her judgment, and her willingness to look closely and care about what she finds. The final inspection report is the assembly's diploma, its certification of completion. The label is small, just a few square inches of foil and adhesive, but it carries the weight of everything that happened before.
The assembly will travel hundreds of kilometers from this factory to its installation site. It will be loaded and unloaded, transported and stored.
The shipping container is the last thing the factory will give the assembly, a custom-built cocoon designed to survive everything the logistics chain can throw at it.
The tamper-evident seals are the final statement of the factory, and they say that everything inside this container was done correctly.
The pony. The container has left the manufacturing floor. It is now in the domain of logistics, of trucks and ships and cranes and roads.
The desert is waiting. The sand and the sun and the wind that will test everything, and this assembly was built to resist. The tie-down straps are the last physical contact the factory will have with the assembly, and after this, the assembly belongs to the road, to the driver, to the logistics chain. The truck will drive for 6 hours across the desert, the assembly inside its container, protected and secure, and when it arrives in it. And now the city exists, it works, it endures, and it was built in the desert, because the desert demanded it.